Hey docs, I want to give you some things here that I know will help you out. If you're like most chiropractors, the quarantine thing's really kind of catching up with you and you're getting a little mentally fatigued. So what I want to do is give you a little cleaning between the ears, what I like to call mental floss. It's not dental floss, but it is the mental floss. And it's been helping my docs and level up. And I want to share it here with you because a lot of chiropractors are just getting to the point where we're sick of things that have been going on. We disagree with this whole plandemic based on the germ theory. It isn't even true. I get it. I understand it. The frustrations are high. But what I want to do as a bit of a gift here and kind of a reset for your focus is take you back to when you were 14, 15, 16 years old and look at what your dreams and aspirations were back then, or the anxiety and the unknown that you had in your teenage years, and kind of put a reference point to what you're doing right now and say, you're probably living a life beyond your wildest dreams when you were back in your teenage years. I don't care if you're 2 years into practice or 22 years into practice, you got a pretty good lifestyle. And I'm also going to venture to say that there's some anxiety because you're anxious to get back to what you're doing because you love what you're doing. So understand that's pretty rare in today's world, that people love and have a passion for what they're doing. It's who you are. It's what you've become. I think it's awesome. But with this mental fatigue, I would also remind you that you are living probably the life of your wildest dreams and beyond, and it wasn't a straight line to get there. In other words, this path to get here pre-quarantine probably took some tweaks and turns in the road. You probably had some unexpected hiccups. Maybe you had something terrible happen that actually redirected you, pivoted you, and actually benefited you getting to this place in your life. You have a beautiful home, family, maybe you're starting a family. Whatever the scenario is, you can tell yourself two different stories. One story is, why now, why me? And that's the victim story, right? You sit back and you go, I can't believe this is happening. I just opened. Or I can't believe this is happening. I'm 30 years in, or we're just about to have a baby, or we were going to sell the practice, or whatever the thing is. That's a victim's mentality. The other thing that you can do is say, look, I'm living a life I was almost not bold enough to dream when I was in my teenage years. This is beyond my wildest dreams. And thankfully, the universe is never off purpose. You see, we get off purpose, but there are no accidents. That would imply the universe is off purpose. So this thing, whatever it is for you, because it's different country to country, it's different in each state in the US, parts of Canada are shut down, parts aren't, I get it. But the universe is never off purpose. And there is something in this for you that will be on the other side of it. And I would remind you that there's twists and turns all the time. And the point I really want to make with this that I think can help you out is procedurally is twofold. One is what's going on with your practice strategically, business-wise, can be super critical right now because there's going to be some pain points. And this is where I really want you to lean into this conversation and also give me some feedback if this is helping you, because there's a lot of docs that are having some pressure points, wish they had saved more money, wish they were more financially stable because they were running what I've been calling a financially fragile model. And now that there's a problem and there's some regret going on, I want you to hit pause and listen to it, because what a lot of chiropractors are doing in this fatigue, in this quarantine, is they're moving away from the pain, away from the outside reality. And I want to tell you what the smart chiropractors do, what the super profitable ones do that can actually live a 360-degree lifestyle, is they move towards the pain. Go to the pain. There's a lesson in there for you. You need to listen to the pain. If you're saying to yourself, I wished I had saved more money, I'm nervous about finances, that's your lesson. If you're saying, geez, I wish I had educated my patients better so they weren't afraid of this germ theory, I'm allowed to be open, but people aren't coming in, well, then that's your lesson. Start to educate, get your table talk, your trench talk better. Maybe you're in a state in the US that's shut down and your regret is, look, this is painful, I can't even be open, we should have better legislature. Well, then that becomes what you need to do on the other side of this. Create better relationships in your state, get better legislature, whatever it is. My point is go to the pain. Okay, go to the pain and really start to dive into it. Those are the lessons. What I've been teaching docs that are willing to listen to me is you need to go into the pain because you want to learn the tough lessons one time. See, the universe is funny. The universe will give you the second lesson if you need it. You can relearn all this stuff on the next catastrophe or make note of it. Make note of what's inside and what your potential is, and maybe some opportunities to grow that you didn't take advantage of. So one of the things that kind of got me started in this video was I was going through a little philosophy and talking about the bigness of the fellow within. And if you look, I'm only like halfway through it because I keep rereading sections. Plus it's a thick book, and I'm a slow reader. And one of the things about the bigness of the fellow within is just, even in the title, like there's so much greatness inside you. Don't get fatigued with this problem. Don't lose your way as the leader. I want to give you a little mental floss and boost you up because your team needs you. And one of my philosophies in running a high volume practice that also is hopefully going to be a big gift for you is your team is your number one priority. People will often say, hey, the customer's always right. The customer's number one. I disagree. I don't agree with that. I think your team is your number one priority. The customers are number two. Because without your team, you don't get to serve these customers, right? And if your team can do this for longevity, you can serve at a higher, bigger, better volume. You can pack money away. You don't have to learn the tough financial lessons twice. Let this crisis be the lesson that helps you the most. So that's on the business side, and I hope those philosophies are helping you out. The second major point I want to give you in this video is when it comes to your personal life, what I've learned, again, the hard way, but I like to learn tough lessons once, is if you're in this scenario and it is starting to wear on your patience, you find yourself getting agitated, irritated, and I know that finances can be the number one relationship stressor, so maybe your own personal regret is starting to cause some stress at home, I would just tell you to shift gears mentally, and this is kind of on the personal side, not the professional side, but on the family side, what I would call the 360 success side, not the chiropractic side of you, just to understand that if you pretend and play a little bit of a mental game, a little bit of a mental floss game, if you will, that you chose this scenario, that it actually becomes tolerable. So if I'm in an airport and a flight gets canceled, I pretend like I chose to be there, that I'm going to read a book. I pretend like I chose to listen to music that afternoon. I could get frustrated and irate and blood pressure rises and join the mass hysteria. I'd rather not. To enhance any experience, my advice to you, and I've learned this over the years, is pretend like you chose quarantine. Pretend like you chose to be near your family. Pretend like you chose to have a weekend full of board games. Pretend like you chose to get OCD with your gardening or whatever your oasis is. Maybe you chose to pick up a guitar after all these years and replay it. Whatever it is, if you just tell yourself, hey, I picked this. I opted into this. It isn't being forced on me. It becomes less oppressive. And I know this video's got some length to it at this point, but these are philosophies that have always helped me out. These are things that have kept me successful in tough times. They've kept my attitude positive, and I sincerely hope this helps you out. Hey, if you liked it, give me some feedback, but just know I'm here for you. I get it. These are not pleasant economies. These are not pleasant volume days in the practice. These aren't fun rules. The laws are being stripped, and all of that goes with it. But let's just pretend you chose this. You're around your family, your loved ones, your fiance, and that's a good thing. You know, and on a 20, 40, 50-year timeline of practice, you're going to look back and go, geez, that month off is pretty cool, right? So be the person that's positive in the room. Don't be the negative Nelly. Plenty of time to save some spines and get lives in line with the divine when this thing passes. But start to choose a better headspace, better philosophy. And if I can help you, please let me know. Cheers, everybody. Quarantine will pass. When we get back to it, let's go save some lives. I hope this helps you out, decreases some stress, and can hopefully increase the quality of life for the people around you. I want you to be positive. Rock and roll.